Hi, I'm Dr. Sally Foote, and today's topic, I'm going to talk about how to stop firework fears now. I'm a veterinarian with over 40 years of general practice experience and behavior focus. I provide behavior consultations for clients now through my website, Dr. Sally J. Foote. But this channel is focused to help you, the pet owner, to understand your pet as well as veterinary team member to understand your pet and your needs so you can work together for better health and behavior. Today's topic, how to stop firework fears now. So it's 4th of July season. We're right around the corner from it. And I wanted to go through a couple of, first of all, the myths, things we believe or always thought about with how pets get afraid of fireworks and what's best to do. And then actually go through some of the high points from my webinar about how to stop firework fears now. I will have the webinar linked in the comments in the description of this video. Please check that, take it, it's only $10, and it's going to include the handouts and go much more in depth, but how you can create the plan for your own pet to be calm for fireworks or storms or any other loud noises. Okay, well, first of all, why do dogs get so scared? Well, there's a couple of different reasons where or how that fear may have built up. First of all, some dogs are just genetically timid. They're puppies who were always kind of a little bit afraid, a little bit timid of basic household noises. Maybe they couldn't socialize very easily, and they also may be a little fearful of people. Now, if they're really young puppies between 8 weeks of age to 4 months of age, and they may have had heard fireworks and maybe something was happening for them. They got some treats or they were kept in a quiet area and didn't get fearful, that might not have built up, but pretty much we do see a genetic component. And also we see certain breeds that have more fear of fireworks or loud noises, and those actually tend to be our hunting breed dogs. We see it a little more commonly in the retrievers and other hunting breeds. Now, the other way is that if the dog ever had a really startling, fearful experience when fireworks went off or a thunderstorm happened. Back in 2014, in my town of Tuscola, we had a severe hailstorm that just came on all of a sudden. The wind kicked up, the hail came pounding down. I mean, there were hailstones literally the size of the palm of my hand. They shattered the skylights out of my practice building. My two employees, their cars, the windshields were literally shattered. That's how intense the hail was coming down on the roof, etc. Now, I always, help my clients out with, how firework and storm fears. And so I started asking clients, how is your pet doing for storms? And clients were saying, wow, last year it wasn't really too bad. But since that hailstorm, now my dog is pacing, he's panting, he's jumping in the bathtub, he is hiding, he's really upset. So you see, the dogs were in the home and they may have had some of the window damage, etc., to their own home. It was really intense. So the dogs generalized that fear for any other kind of really loud noises like fireworks. Okay, so some of the myths that we have that I want to bust here about firework fears are these. These are the things I commonly hear. Number one, okay, you have the dog in the backyard, or maybe it's in the, your dog's in the family room, the living room inside, and you can hear the fireworks going off outside, and the dog is there, present in the sound. And the dog may be standing up, sitting down, turning around, pacing, starting to pant, and you say, okay, come here, sit, and you start to give the dog a command. So the dog will sit still. The dog sits still, he can follow the command. And the thought is, just ride it out, get used to it. Okay, this technique is called flooding. You're keeping the dog present in the face of the intense stimulus with the assumption that they're going to accommodate to it. They're going to get acclimated to it. Now, some very mentally resilient animals can, but most cannot. And what happens is, while the dog may sit obediently, they're shivering, they're shaking, they may start panting because they're still anxious. The anxiety is built up. What you see physically is because of the adrenaline is rising in the body. And that adrenaline rise will cause them to show these signs or the shutdown signs. I'll go into that in a little bit in a minute. but the anxiety is still rising, so they're not getting used to it. So just having him sit through it to get used to it does not work. It actually tends to make things worse. So please don't do that. A second approach is, okay, I understand the dog is jumping up and down off the bed. The dog, it might be howling or whining or digging at the door, or maybe even has really injured themselves. They've dug so hard at the door in their crate, their nails are bloody. So the client comes in and says, oh my gosh, she's in a horrible, just give him something to knock him out. Just give him something to just totally make him sleep through everything. Well, in a sense, that is, is a bit helpful. Like if they don't experience any fear, they're totally blocked out from it with, as we call it, chemical restraint, from the sedative, then they won't really have a memory of it. But it doesn't teach the dog what to do to self-calm. So when you're not home and you can't give that medication, that dog is still going to go up to his level of panic, and he could still hurt himself. Now, we have many medications that are safe, yet at the same time, too, if it's like a rolling whole weekend, I mean, this is the 250th anniversary of the United States. Some areas we're getting like almost a whole week of neighbors putting off fireworks, community fireworks, etc. So, a deep sedation to go daily for 3, 4, 5 days is not necessarily in the best for the best health of your pet. So it's better is to teach the dog to go to a safe room. That's a closet, a bathroom, the basement, a windowless room that blocks out the noise, and then we set it up to be nice for them with music and maybe a food puzzle. So rather than seeking a really sedative plan, we want a plan that helps their anxiety be low to prevent the rise of adrenaline and teach the dog to go to the safe room. Third one, I'll train my dog to like the firework noises. Well, that was advised. That was advised up to about 20 years ago. And a study was done by one of the veterinary behaviorists demonstrating that you could counter condition, train the dog to like the recording of a firework, the recording of a thunderstorm. He could learn to lay still. You could work through the, volume settings, tossing treats. But when the real thunderstorm happened, the dog still was pacing, panting, and showing they were upset. And with fireworks, the same way. They could train. The same thing would be true with fireworks. So rather than spending the time trying to teach the dog to get used to the sounds of fireworks, which isn't going to work, let's teach the dog to go to the safe room readily. We're going to do a little bit of daily training, only about 2 to 3 minutes a day, but this will help the dog learn this is where I go to self-calm, and that's what's going to be effective to prevent that, really building up a fear and panic. How do we really stop the firework fears from happening fast? Well, first of all, what I like, it's a mixture. It's a mixture of the right medication along with the storm safety plan, meaning going to the safe room. So how do we know what medications work? Or, maybe you're approaching your veterinarian or veterinary team members out there. You may think, okay, we're going to give everybody trazodone. All right. Well, really what's best though is we want to have a dog that is able to get up and get to the safe room. So we don't want them to be super sedated. And secondly, we also want to match what level of fear this dog has. What are the way they're showing the fear? Are they the active, pacing, panting, drooling? Because fear comes in 2 ways. Fear is going to show as a very active way, and that's the pacing, the panting, the drooling, the jumping on and off of the bed, jumping on and off the couch, digging in the corner of the couch, going to the door and digging, going to the window, because the dog's trying to find a way to escape. Sometimes they're howling. Sometimes they're barking, like they're barking at the sound. Okay, that's an activated dog. The adrenaline is making their body be active to try to find a way to get out of this, okay? The other end of the spectrum of fear is where they shut down. That's the dog who first starts with a bit of pacing and panting and then finds the corner behind the recliner, underneath the dining room table, usually that, 90-degree corner in the wall, like one wall and the other wall meet. And the dog presses his body against it, like just really hard. They're plastered in there. Their head is down. They are not whining. They may be shivering. So they're shaking and shivering typically. They are usually not panting so much. It's not so much of the active behaviors. They're going into shutdown. Their body is shutting down. They're going into a solid state of freeze because of the fear. The high adrenaline is now telling their body, don't move a muscle and maybe no harm will come to you. Well, now these are the dogs who may not get up and out of that corner for an hour or two after fireworks, and they won't go outside to eliminate, and they are as affected with that adrenaline rise, how it can harm the heart, it can harm their intestines, and the memory. The memory really embeds as badly as a dog who's active. Okay, so for both ways, how the dogs present or going on that, trajectory towards that, it's important to know that. And then we choose the medication and supplements that help these dogs to reduce the fear and be able to get up and go to the safe room. Okay, so for the dog who's really super active, we're going to use medication that slows the body down. But to the dog who's shut down, we don't want to slow him down anymore. He's already shutting down. We want to avoid deep sedation on those dogs. So from my webinar, you're going to get these handouts. I know they're very hard to see on the video. So take the webinar. You will be able to get a download of these handouts. This first one is a fear scoring sheet. So what I have on here is you would put a level 1 is your pet's really pretty calm. They don't show many signs, but that dog you still teach to go to the safe room. I want dogs to get out of all this sound and chaos and noise from the fireworks for a couple reasons. I've had a case recently where a little dog was a bit nervous and fearful of storms, but a neighbor set off a firework that landed right in their backyard when the dog was out there in the backyard and just had caught a ball in the air right next to where the firework fell. This is the unpredictable nature you see of what fireworks can do. Well, because of that, now this dog shot right back to the home. Owner let the dog in the house because the dog was tearing the door up to get in there. She was so panicked. Then the dog could not go outside to go to the bathroom. She was so fearful and generally fearful of the whole backyard because of that. So when any kind of fireworks are going off, or we might anticipate we're getting to the time of day when this is going to happen, we want our dog to already be in the bathroom, be in the basement, be in the walk-in closet. We put the bed down there and we made it nice for them. So even if your dog doesn't need medication, get him in the safe room. Number 2, fear level 2. This is where we're going to have some of this mild pacing. They may get up and move from room to room and then settle down for a little bit. Then they get up and they turn around and they get, they can't settle. They may be hiding. They start off going underneath the kitchen table or going underneath the dining room table. Maybe they're really clinging close to you. You sit down and they're right there and they're leaning against your body, shaking, panting, or starting the digging. Okay, this is like a level 2. It's not real intense, but they're getting, the adrenaline is rising in their brain and it's activating their body or starting the shutdown. So at this level, all dogs need a mother dog calming pheromone collar. And there are 2 brands. One is called Thunder Ease and the other one is called Zenadog. This is newer on the market. I will have links for these products below in the description section. But the mother dog calming pheromone is absorbed. The pheromone has to be where it can be absorbed through the roof of the mouth. So the collar, their body heat is constantly warming. So the pheromone rises to the roof of the mouth, goes to the brain, to the calming center. Sprays, you could put the spray on a bandana. So again, it evaporates where the dog's face is so we can inhale it up. You can spray the bedding that you're getting them to lay on. You could spray the room. The plugins, in my experience, do not work very well because that's a lighter cloud. It's very ambient. We want intensity with the mother dog calming pheromone. Okay, so they get the mother dog calming pheromone. Now, if it's just a little bit of nervousness, the mother dog calming pheromone products are enough. But if your dog is starting to keep moving around the house and it's like every 2 minutes, he won't settle, especially digging, whining, and constant panting. Now we need to add a second medication. So they still have the Thunder Ease collar, then we're going to choose the appropriate medication. I go much more in detail about which medications kind of do what, yet know that they're going to need a non-sedating anti-anxiety medication. The choices are things like propranolol or gabapentin. Trazodone can be used at a lower level. and Zilkine as a milk calming supplement is another one. Again, as you go through this score sheet, I help match up what would be the best blend. Now, the third level is the dog who's really panicked. And I've had cases of dogs jumping out of windows, breaking their legs during thunderstorms, or the dog who's plastered against the wall and will not move for 2 or 3 hours during fireworks thunderstorms and cannot go out to the bathroom. That animal needs the collar, the level 2 medication you've discussed and talked to your veterinarian about. And then level 3 is adding in a very mild sedating effect, panic reducing medication. And this tends to be the products like lorazepam, diazepam, or alprazolam. Now, those three are all in one drug class. They have different durations of how long they're going to last on the body, but adding that to the collar and the first level supplement medication can really be helpful for these dogs. From other dogs, we may use a combination of gabapentin or clonidine. Again, I go through this in more detail in the webinar, but understand that even for their really panicked dogs, this little cocktail, if you will, of these three products is blended with, we're going to call them into the safe room. The safe room is what does the most amount of work to reduce this fear, because now they're in a room where they cannot hear the sound because it's a central room in the home, like a bathroom, walk-in closet, or down in the basement. And we're going to clear the clothing away so we can put their dog bed in there. We're going to, make space in the bathroom so they can have their dog bed in there. Or again, we've practiced also going up and down the stairs to get down to the basement, and we put a nice little dog bed down there. Now, the second thing we also want to do to make this safe room a place attractive and where they want to be is we play the right kind of music for them. Dogs need to hear pattern. They need to hear repeat. And the music that's danceable type music, low in the bass beat, with male singers is what's best. It's called Butterscotch's Playlist. That's one of the handouts in the webinar that you'll have. That is the tried and true songs that have helped dogs to be settled and calm during fireworks and during storms. The best song that has saved more dogs is another one, Bites the Dust by Queen. And so you get the idea. If you all know that song, that is the kind of music you're going to play all throughout while the fireworks are going on. The third thing, have what's called a food puzzle, like a Kong food puzzle, and freeze some canned food in there. So when you take your dog down to the room, you call them down there, you're going to throw the food puzzle in there. Now, always keep the door to the safe room open, because again, you might be out running errands, grocery shopping, or doing something, and then somebody starts erratically popping off fireworks at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in your neighborhood. And your dog now can, when he hears the fireworks, can immediately go to that room. Because when he first hears them, he's not going to get totally up to panic. And what he's learned is, when this sound is going, I go down there. When this sound is going, I go to the closet. So always keep the closet door open, keep the basement door open, keep the bathroom door open so your dog can get in there. Now, after, we've used this kind of plan and we've had a good firework season, the next year, follow the same plan, but you might notice if your dog's being a little sedate with these medications or supplements that I've mentioned, what that means is his adrenaline isn't rising as high. That's a good thing, so we can decrease the dose. And I tell your veterinarian and veterinary team, I want you all to be asking clients now as they're coming in for the regular checkups or even sick pet visits, especially the sick pets, because the stress of whatever illness they have is going to make it more likely they're going to have stress from fireworks. Ask them, how does your dog do during fireworks? Okay, don't just ask, is he fearful? Because remember, some of those people are missing the signs of the shutdown. So just say, how does your dog do during fireworks? And what's his worst, his most extreme way of showing he's afraid? Because that, you too, you take my webinar, you're going to get this little guide, right? You're going to get the scoring sheet, and then, the plan that you can quickly make and give to your client so they can do this at home. But it'll help you to know what medication and tell your client when to give it and help prevent further problems. Also, too, if they say, well, he did really great last year, then maybe you could give a guide on trying a slightly lower dose. That would be fine. I hope this has helped you with any fears your pets have with fireworks, please take the webinar. Like I said, the link is below. I appreciate your comments. Go ahead and comment below. Remember to like and subscribe to my channel. So I'm bringing out more videos, and it helps to support the channel and everything. If you need further help or want more information, I have a Substack account. It's under Know Your Pet and Vet. I also have a podcast there. And I have my website, drsallyjfoote.com, where you can find out information about behavior consultations, as well as some other courses that I have there. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.